Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to another glittery DIY. So today I'm going to be showing you guys how I made this waist bag. So it's a little bit complex, but I'm going to try my best and just talk you through how I made it. So the first thing that I did was to make a template, and it was 7 inches by 5.5 inches, and then I folded it 2 times. And then I just went to the corner and I used my curved ruler like that, and then I just cut around the corner like that. And the shape, this is the shape that I got in the end. You can definitely make it more round if you wish. Then I used the template to cut my fabric, and I cut 2 pieces of this round circular shape. So those are my 2 pieces, the front and the back. Then these are the extra pieces that I cut. The one where I was going to attach the zip and the bottom part. And then I ironed on some interfacing onto all these African print pieces. And I ran out of my usual hard interfacing, so I just used my normal regular interfacing, but I just doubled it for some extra thickness. So this is the piece that we are going to attach at the back, and then I just ironed it on all 4 edges like that. I ironed in all 4 edges. This is the piece where the belt is going to go through at the back of the purse or bag. So I put it on the back piece like that, and then I just stitched it onto the back piece. Now after that I went on to make sort of like a rope binding. Then I took a piece of rope. The diameter of this rope is about 1/2 centimeter, and then I took about 1-inch strip of fabric, and then I just started encasing the rope with the fabric, and I just did a tacking stitch until I got all the way to the end. And that was the result. So I made 2 of these pieces, and these pieces are the ones that are going to go on the borders or edges of those little fabrics. So you have to make sure that they are equal to the circumference of those pieces. Then I now stitched the zip onto the 2 top part pieces. Yep, so there I was just basically stitching the zip onto the fabric pieces. And then after that I took the back piece, and then I took that rope, and then I just put the part where I stitched the zipper, and then I just started pinning it right round. And then after pinning the top part, I now started pinning the bottom part. Then I just pinned it right round until they meet on the sides. So at the point where they meet, I just pinned it like that, and I was going to go and stitch over this part. So before I stitch, I always do a tucking stitch, and at that point I'd already tucked everything together. Then I went over and I just sewed that on the sewing machine, and I use a zipper foot for this. It's easier to sew as close to that rope as possible if you're using a zipper foot. Then I also stitched those sides together, stitching the top part and the bottom part together. And this is what I had at that point. And then next was to now attach the top part or the front part of the bag, and I just did the same thing that I did for the back. And then I did the tucking stitch. And then I also went and I just stitched that on the sewing machine. So after that, now I had to make the lining for the inside. At this point, I didn't turn it over just yet. Then I took the same pieces that I cut for the bag, but this time I cut them on this lining fabric. Then I just pinned everything together the same way that I pinned the African print fabric pieces, and then I sewed that on the sewing machine. And after sewing, it looks something like this. I turned it inside out and then I put it over the bag, and then I aligned them on the zips. So you'll notice that this part of the lining is folded inwards and ironed, so that when I go to attach it onto the bag, there are no raw edges. Then I just pinned it on the zipper, and this is the part where I went and I sewed, and I did a hemming stitch. At that point I'd already stitched the hem, as you can see, and then I just went on to turn it inside out, and that was the result. So as for the belt, I took some interfacing and I ironed it onto this strip of fabric. I'm going to leave the measurements in the description box for the belt, but you just use your normal regular belt measurements from a belt that you already own, and then I ironed in all the edges. And that is also the lining. I also added some interfacing onto the lining for some extra thickness, and then I put them together, and then I just pinned them, and I went over and I sewed this on the sewing machine. So after sewing the belt, it looks like this. And then I now took the notions for the belt, which is the clasp and whatnot, and then I just put it on the way you put it on a normal belt. I made a couple of holes, and then I punched in the eyelet holes using that little puncher thing. And then lastly, the final and last step was to insert the belt at the back of the bag using that little attachment that I put on earlier. Thank you for watching this video, guys.